So it's the best day ever. All right, well, there's my cheesy humor. I'm getting right into it. All right, guys, so what the heck is happening with rates? Let's kind of go over that real fast. As you know, inflation is the enemy. You can see the candlestick charts for the last, really since November. We've been this slippery slope downward on the Fannie Mae 30-year bonds. And just this last 2 weeks, we've lost quite a bit. So 103.56 to 102. So we're 150 basis points just last week. That's a lot. Basically, a rate that costs 0 points now costs 1.5 points to get. It's equivalent to about 3/8 to a half in rate worse. So if you look at the national average of where we are in interest rates right now, the national average for a 30-year fixed. Now, keep in mind, this is an average that includes points. Look, it says 0.4 points right there. See that? That's the average points to get this rate of 3.625. So a rate with no points would be a little bit higher than that. So yes, rates have gone up. 15-year fixed. If you have somebody that just really wants a rate under 3%, you can still do that on a 15-year fixed. FHA is right around the 3.25 still, and jumbo is right around the 3.25. Keep in mind, jumbo loans those rates are determined by the institution, by the lender that the loan ends up being with. It's not dictated by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So all interest rates across the country are delivered to lenders, and those rates are set by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on a daily basis, based on what their bonds are selling for. So we can watch the bonds and know exactly what interest rates will be doing. And that's kind of how we watch it with the bond market. So based on their yield on their Fannie Mae 3.0 bond or whatever it might be, they make a flat fee. So we know exactly what that's going to translate to into interest rates. So right now, 3.65, yes, it's higher. So we need to really talk to our buyers to make sure they understand what that means, and then what the future holds. And I'll go over that in just a second. But what's going on this week? If you look at let's see here, where's my updates, my economic calendar. This is kind of I know when the big items are happening. If it'll let me, there you go. Sorry, it's slow when I get on the Zoom calls for some reason. So this week is obviously today, everything's closed. So we're not gonna be able to see what's happening today. But not much going on at the beginning of the week, some numbers on housing, some manufacturing, building permits coming out on Wednesday. That'll show you really how many builders are asking for permits. That gives us an idea of what's to come as far as the volume of new builds happening. So that's interesting to kind of see if there's a rapid push towards building more homes and housing starts. And then we have a bond auction. Bond auctions, if they go poorly, interest rates could be affected. Here's the danger that we see. When the Fed stops buying these mortgage-backed securities, it's going to rely on the public and the private sector to pick up the pace, so to speak, and buy those at auction. If we look at these long-term bond auctions and we see that there's not a public or private investor appetite for these, it's not going to be good, because we basically trained this whole economy on that the government was buying these. So there hasn't been a public or private entity push to buy these bond auctions. So these are going to be very important to watch. And if they're poor on their delivery and how many actually participate in these bond auctions and how many bonds are purchased, rates will get worse. So these are really important. So on days like this, I'll wait and I won't do anything, and I'll wait till 11 o'clock till the bond auction happens to see what happens, so I can move quickly if I need to lock loans. Thursdays, the jobless claims, initial jobless claims are coming out. This is going to be very important because we are all banking on the fact that jobless, that employment's going to be strong. If we see large jobless numbers, that's going to go against the grain of what the Feds want. The Feds want a strong economy that can absorb the Fed hikes. If we see joblessness start to creep up, or people are losing their jobs, that's going to have a pretty unique impact on the Fed's decision, which could have an impact on rates. And keep in mind, remember, when the Feds move their rates this time, it's going to be a good thing for mortgage rates because they're moving it higher on the Fed funds rate to offset inflation. And remember, inflation is the enemy of long-term mortgage rates. So if we can lower inflation, we'll lower the rates on mortgages, even if that means increasing the Fed funds rate. So keep that in mind if you have customers that are talking about raising interest rates in the Feds. That does not translate directly to mortgage rates going up. In fact, in this case, it should bring them down. So that's a little bit what's going on here with the markets. Existing home sales is going to be coming out. That continues to be strong. So that's what's happening this week. So I put together a little presentation, kind of like I did last time on, let me get out of my share screen for a second real fast so I can move this around based on kind of what do we do with our buyers that are watching interest rates climb? What can we do? So let me, sorry, as I move everything around, I've got 4 screens, so I'm all over the map here. So let's see, play from beginning. All right, and I'm going to escape. Sorry, as I do this, guys, I've got to share my screen. I'm going to share it to screen number 2. All right, I think that did it. And now I've got to get the report up. All right, can you guys see that now? Thumbs up, Angie, Joyce. Can you guys see that report? Managing buyers with rising rates. Okay, perfect.
Yes, we can see it. We can see
All
it.
right, wonderful.
Yes.
All right, so let's keep in mind also that about 2 years ago, we were all shocked and bewildered and excited and thrilled and everything, every adjective you can think of when rates dropped below 4%. All right, the world was so happy. It was a refi boom like we'd never seen, and people were super excited. We need to bring back that mentality because rates are just going to be creeping up to that same spot, which is still phenomenal. We've got very, very, very spoiled this past 2 years in interest rates, but it's because we went through this crazy turmoil where the government had to intervene, right? And buy all these mortgage-backed securities, keep it low. So I want us to go into this when we're talking to our customers to remind them that just 2 years ago, rates at 4% was the best thing that's ever happened. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. So we want to debunk these reasons for waiting. A lot of the customers that I'm talking to are waiting, kind of like a wait and see. They don't know what's going to happen. They're not educated as far as the data. So we really need to encourage them. So here's some of the things I'm hearing. They're just tired. They have buyer fatigue. There's too many failed offers. They've written, I know you guys are fatigued as well. You have some buyers, that might not be as strong as someone else. They're putting maybe 5% down and they're going up against cash offers. So those failed offers are creating buyer fatigue. Another thing is they're waiting for the crash. How many people have heard that? So we'll go over that in a second. They're waiting for more inventory. That could take forever. They don't want to be homeless. So they don't want to sell their home and then not find one and be left renting or having to do a double move because they have to move their stuff into a rental property to find a house in the future. So there's a lot of hesitancy there. And there's also some people are just waiting for more down payment because they're not comfortable with their payments that they have. And then they're waiting for rates to come back down, which I honestly think they may in about a year or about 6 to 7 months, we'll start to see that come back down. But that's speculative on the Feds controlling inflation. If they can't control inflation, we're going to see rates continue to go up. If I was a betting man, I would always be the most cautious. I wouldn't just assume rates are going to come down. I would act now, and if they do, that's gravy. But assume they're for the worst. That's how I always look at things. I'm not really a betting man. I want to do what makes me sleep better at night and not just speculate too much. But It should, if we get a handle on inflation, it should bring rates back down towards the end of the year. So how to avoid buyer fatigue? I think expectations are everything. And so we need to set proper expectations for urgency. When I say urgency, it could be on a number of different things, right? If you're looking at homes and a home comes on the market and the buyer says, I'm sorry, I can't look at it today. Jimmy's got a soccer tournament. Or my family in town, I want to skip this weekend. That's not urgency. If there's a home that comes on the market that fits that criteria, set that expectation like you need to jump. Timeline, it may take them a lot longer to find a home. It's not going to be one of those from 2-3 years ago where you do a pre-qual, you go out, there's 20 different homes to look at, you have time to think about it, and then you sit back and you just wait a couple days, kind of hem and haw. You take the car over there, make sure it fits in the garage, all of that timeline. It's different now. It may take a lot longer. It may take a lot more homes to look at because there is less inventory. And make sure they understand that inventory. I know you guys are probably pretty good at all of that, but I've seen some borrowers drop out because their expectations weren't set properly. Clear communication regarding the benefits of ownership. I'm going to go over some of that with you today. Cost of waiting reports. I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like and share what the buyer's success stories are. So I'm going to show you in a few slides here, a buyer from a year, not even a year ago today, March of last year, what that looked like. And if they would have waited, what they would be up against. So I want that to translate into when you're talking to buyers now, okay, let's just speculate. We're supposed to get 7 to 9% appreciation or something in that range this year. Let's just say you waited. In a year from now, what does that look like? So we'll go over that in a second as well. We need to set up buyers for success with custom mortgage strategies as well. So one of the most important things to think about is to try as best that you can to eliminate all contingencies. So we have these mini bridge loans, I call them, where we set up a home equity line on the home they're listing to free that cash to put a down payment on the new home. And then they can go into the new home with the home equity line as a down payment. And then once this home over here sells, the proceeds will pay off that home equity line and they'll be left with their permanent mortgage. We can also do, if they have some money, but they don't have as much as they would want because they want really all of that equity from the home they're selling, we can do 2 loans. We can do a 10% down loan with their own funds that they have now. And then we can do 2 loans, like a 50% of the purchase price and a 40% of the purchase price, close on that property. And then once that house sells, they'll take those proceeds and pay off this other 40% second and just be left with one permanent mortgage. So the key to that is they have to qualify for all of those mortgages. So they have to they have to be financially strong in order to do that. But it's a nice little mini bridge to get through. Also, fully approved pre-approvals. This is imperative in today's market. Those buyers that want to shop lenders and wait to the last minute to choose who they're going with, and then they find a property and they're not fully pre-qualified because they don't have their documents in, it really is going to hurt them more than it helps them. So getting a loan fully approved through underwriting, what does that mean? It means the pre-qualification is done, all of the documents are in, and then it's actually submitted to underwriting for a full actual underwritten, not a computer underwrite, an actual fully underwritten with VOEs, everything up front before they go into contract. It really helps, guys. Oh, did I just skip to the next? There we go. So fully approved pre-approvals, and then eliminate all contingencies. We talked about that. Keep in mind appraisals. We can run the system, run it through our system to get appraisal waivers. There are talks, this may go away, but because they're changing a little bit on how the desktop underwriter is run and what loan prospector and how it's run. So for now, we can still do that. Maybe a couple months down the road, that might not be an option. So utilize that while we can, where we actually run the loan through the system before they make an offer, see if it's an appraisal waiver to see if we can make that higher offer for the bid over ask. It is a great tool. And then, but yeah, eliminate as many contingencies as possible. We do not need contingencies. So waiting for the crash. I like this little skeleton sitting here on the bench. Nobody knows what the future holds, but we can look at the data. And right now, it's a supply and demand rule. And if we look at some of these numbers here, foreclosures are at a 25-year low. And guys, the forbearance laws that came up, nobody's foreclosing. They have equity. So they're either selling, which if they sell, they're just going to have to rent. So the people that are selling are those that really have to. They're forced into it, but they're not foreclosures. They're not going to fire sale them because guess what? They can put it on the market and in 1 hour have 10 offers. So foreclosures are at a 25-year low. The foreclosure crisis of 2008, there was too many homes for sale and not enough buyers. It's completely the opposite of what we have now. We have too many buyers and not enough homes. So even if there are foreclosures or people that are in financial trouble, they're just going to sell it normally because they can. And equity levels are way up, so they won't foreclose. So anyone that's thinking they're waiting for all these foreclosures, it's not going to happen. Another thing, builders are way behind. When I say way behind, they're like 5 years behind, guys. In 2008, they stopped building big time for a couple years. Then they started getting back in the game, buying land again and doing it, starting up again. And then we had the millennials that pushed in this biggest buyer pool ever. And they're now all buying and the builders are behind. And this whole supply chain issue is causing more trauma to that whole cycle. So there's not enough homes for the population growth that we're seeing in Arizona because it continues to be a top destination for transplants as well. Everyone coming from the other states near us, California, I think they're pushing everyone out of California. I don't know what they're doing over there, but it's good for us, not good for them. And some would argue it's bad for us too, because we're getting some goofballs from California. But hey, I'm a goofball from California, so I can't talk too bad about people from California. But anyhow, major companies are moving here as well. There's huge tech that's opening up massive buildings in the microchip department. So just keep your eye on that. California keeps feeding us buyers and rents, guys. People aren't selling to rent because it's cheaper. Rents are expensive. Rents are going up too. They're at all-time highs. And because of that, investors who have been buying up these properties for years, in the last 10 years, BlackRock and a lot of other investors like that have been buying these properties in droves and renting them out. Builders are building properties just to rent them out. And they're not selling them because it's too profitable. When rents go up like this and they secure them either with cash or with really low interest rates, that will continue to be very, very profitable, which takes them out of the selling pool. So if everyone's waiting for a crash or people are waiting for a crash, it's going to take something massive for it to happen, like massive. And we all hope that doesn't happen. So strategies to avoid being homeless. This is the mini bridge I talked about. If people have to sell a home to buy another house, they're hesitant. They're like, I don't want to sell because I don't want to be homeless and be stuck looking for a home because there's no homes on the market. So setting it up where you buy the new home first and then either rent the property out or you set up a HELOC on that property that you're leaving to buy that new home and then take your time and sell that after. That is probably the least stress out of all of it. Now, not everyone can do that because there are 2 loans that are new on top of another one. So you'd have 3 loans. You'd have your old mortgage, if that house had a mortgage. Sometimes they're free and clear and it's a lot easier. But you have your old mortgage, a new home equity line, and then a new mortgage on the new property to bridge the gap with the home equity that doesn't cover it all. And if you get confused on that and you want a little tutorial or 101 on it, basically call me and I'll walk you through it. But bridging, it's like a bridge loan, but you're not encumbering multiple properties with one loan, which is what a true bridge loan does. You have to qualify with both payments. Also, we're noticing a lot of people selling the home and leasing it back to themselves, having the person that's buy it lease it back to themselves so they can find a home, or they have it for maybe 2 or 3 months before they move out to give them ample time to sell their homes. Or you sell it and then you have sellers stay in the new property rent-free until you sell. So you buy the home and let them stay there, right? You buy the home, they stay there for a couple months until you can sell your house and then you move in. So I've seen a lot of different strategies to overcome this fear of them being homeless. If they list their home right now and they sell it quickly, where will I go? It's a common thought for a lot of people in this market. Now, Here's a waiting on larger down payment. I had 2 or 3 customers, believe it or not, and it may be more popular than this. Maybe I'm the only person that's ever seen this, but they couldn't afford their payment at 5% down. The mortgage insurance was a little higher. So they wanted to wait. This is what would happen. If you were at 650 purchase price and you wanted to wait, so you had a little bit more down, your loan amount would be 617.5 if you put 5% down on a 650 purchase price. Your principal and interest would be 2816. Total out of pocket would be about $38,000. Now, this is principal and interest only, doesn't include taxes and insurance and everything. But look at this. Now, if you waited 6 months based on a 5% appreciation, which has been average for this year so far, maybe even more in some pockets, that purchase would go up to $682,500. The interest rates are now going to be closer to 4. 10% down is what you wanted to do. Now your loan amount is exactly almost the same. And your mortgage payment is actually more by a couple $100 because you waited. Now you're at a higher rate and there's more money out of pocket. So waiting never makes sense when in a rising interest rate environment. It never does, especially when there's appreciation happening. So we can show examples like this. Here's a buyer that I had back in March. And I want to show you if they would have waited where they'd be. So then they bought the house for $730,000. They put 20% down. The rate was 2.875. They were very excited to get a rate under 3%. And their loan amount was $584,000. The principal and interest is $2423,000. They had $152,500 out of pocket. Their truth in lending statement, how much they would pay over 30 years, was $872,260. Now, if they were to have waited to right now their rate is at, let's just say 3.75 with no points. That home now, look at this same house, closed for $730,000, March 17th, 2021 is now his estimate. Well, we know how accurate those are, but just to give you an idea, $922,000 now. So now $920,000 purchase with 20% down at the higher rate. That's a $736,000 down payment with this. I'm sorry, $736,000 loan amount with the same down payment, 20% down, which is more, but same percentage of down payment. Their payment is $600 more a month. And they're out of pocket $40,000 more upfront, plus over the life of the loan, they're almost $500,000 or $400,000 more in payments. So that's a really good example. If this person would have waited, it would have been a tremendous mistake. So we can show things like this. Another really good example is what I call the cost of waiting calculators. I'm gonna have to pull this up on my computer because this is an actual form. So hold on one second. I'm going to escape out of here and pull this up. Which screen did it go over to? Hold on. So I know I'm shooting a lot of information your ways. So if I'm going too fast, tell me to stop. Hold on one second. Cost of waiting. Where did it go? Sort by item type. You can never find something when you're in a hurry. I just had it. Anytime you use multiple screens, it moves all your icons everywhere. It just drives me nuts. All right, well, let's see here. Sorry, guys, this is a little embarrassing. Here we go. All right, this is it. All right, so now I'm going to go back to share screen. All right, so this is a report that I can run for you. This is of that same property, or a similar property, $711,000 purchase price. This is the loan today. So if we were to do a loan today, 30-year fixed on this is the property, and we did a property value of 711, term 30 years, down payment of, this is 20% down at a rate of 3.625, and then waiting 6 months, waiting a year, waiting 2 years, or waiting 3 years, where would they be? So here, these graphs are great to really paint the picture, but it shows appreciation over the 3-year period. Now, just keep in mind, we had almost 25 to 30% in 1 year. So this is being conservative over a 3-year period at about 7% or 6% compared to what we've seen. So here's the cost of waiting analysis. Annual loss in cash flow for waiting 1 year, 6,900, waiting 2 years, 8,900. The loss in property appreciation, 32,000 loss the first year, 64,000, 129, 159 the third year. Your total cost of waiting down below. If they waited 6 months, they missed out on $38,000. If they waited a year, that's $75,000 they missed out on. Here's a breakdown on a bar chart, kind of show you what that looks like, the total cost. Amortization lost because you weren't paying a mortgage, you were renting, throwing money away. Appreciation lost. This is a great little illustration that you can present to somebody if that's wanting to wait. Now, if they want to get cute and say, well, what if we just had 3% appreciation? The numbers work the same. It's still a loss. You're never going to be better off renting. If you need a rent versus buy, I've got these same exact charts using rent versus buying. So if you need any ammunition to help with your buyers to get off the fence, I've got a lot of tools for it. I want to make sure that you guys know about them. So I'm going to go back to one more thing real fast. And then share my screen again. Here, share. So here's some of the things that I can help with you guys. These are some of the programs that I have. Real estate buy versus rate, buy versus rent, buy versus rent. I'm sorry. This is a great one because you just put in the address of the MLS number and it'll spit out a whole report. So if you need, it's just like the other one. It takes the average rents for that area, plus what the purchase price is with the average rates. It takes over a 1, a 2, and a 3 years period to see how much they'll lose just by renting. A lot of people don't understand that when you make a mortgage payment, you're paying yourself as well as paying the interest. So it's forced savings as well as that appreciation. So a lot of good tools here for you to get those buyers off the fence. Believe me, there's a lot of them that are on it. And I'm going to be utilizing this today actually to send to everybody. Say, do you want to see what it looks like if you were to wait? Here's an example, just so they can really ponder what that looks like. Now, I know it's hard out there. I know there's hardly any inventory, but if we set everyone up for success and really get those pre-approvals done fully through underwriting, set proper expectations, have everyone really ready to go, we can win out there, and we are. We're seeing a lot of success. So we have a couple chats here. You can't hear me. Oh, somebody couldn't hear me, but I got it to work. Any questions on what we went over there, or any questions on those reports? And if anyone wants some of those reports, just shoot in the chat or send me a text, and I'll make some custom for you. So if you have a listing and you want to have that in your listing, like check out this house. Here's what it looks like if you were to wait and buy this house 6 months from now, or buy this house now. I can present those for you as well. So if you have any questions, or if you need any of that collateral or rent versus buy reports, please lean on me to get those to you, and I'd be happy to do that. Any questions?
Hey, Sean, it's Vicky, Realty Executives.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Hey, thank you. I sometimes use the awesome website bid over ask.
Okay.
Is this from you? So thank you.
Yes.
Is this rent website, buy over rent type of thing? Is that accessible for us to use, or
Yeah.
do we have to send it to you?
I'm not sure if you can go on this or not.
Okay.
If I could just give you my passwords and username, and you guys could just go have at it. So I'm not shy about doing that.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, Sunday night at 10. And
Yeah.
I don't want to knock on your door and say, or, call you and say, hey, can I get this
Yeah.
information? Because
The only
if we're in a
thing with
bidding.
Sure. The only thing with this program is if I'm in it and you're in it at the same time, it'll lock us out. But I will give all of you the username and password to this. So here's, I'm gonna get real fast because I have everything saved. So hold on one second. It's called MBS Highways. I'm gonna put here's the link. And then let me.
Oh, it's part of bid over ask, right? Because I have that then. I didn't realize. I do have that one.
Let's see if it's on bid over ask. And then, yeah, if you go into so let me just log out real fast. So I know what my passwords are. That might sound silly, but all right. So I'm going to copy my username. Now, don't go changing my passwords or my credit card information and go crazy on that.
Your credit card's in there?
Well, yeah,
I'm
I have to
kidding.
pay for it some way.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So have at it. Maybe shoot me a text before you're in it to see if I'm in it or out of it. This is a paid platform. You can actually get this. So if you go into the pricing section of this website, you can start a free trial and you can have access to all of these if you want. So have a look at mine, see if it's something that you'd be interested in. You can track the markets like I do. And it's a really great program. So, but good question, Vicki. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you so much. It's a tool I use every so often. It's so beneficial.
Yeah, it really helps a lot. And if you need it from me, you can get it from me. Or now you've got the logins. So there you have it. Giving it away for free. Don't let the owner, Barry Habib, tell or learn that I did that. He's going to kill me. And we're going to scratch this from the recording too.
What is bid over ask? What is she talking about a separate website, bid over ask? Or is
It's
that
a
just
tool.
the
Yeah, it's a tool through
inside
this.
the MBS? Okay.
Yeah,
I got
so
you.
here's what it is. Am I sharing my screen right now? No, I'm not.
No.
Here, I'm going to show you. This is bid over ask. So you go into loan advisor. Oh no, it's under, which one is it? These little buttons, real estate, bid over ask. This is what it looks like. So here's your prospective property. Anyone have a listing you want to give me an address on? I'll Google one real fast.
All right, I
Those are
don't have a listing right now.
footage.
But
No, that's okay. I'm just going to do a quick little Google. And oh, look, there's only one property for sale, and it's the one that I used earlier. That's really funny. $47.17. Let's move this over here so I can copy it. Sorry, guys. I want to show you how this works just so you can really see here. All right, so 4716 East Daly Lane. And that's Phoenix, Arizona, 85050. Now it's going to search. It's doing a property AVM. And here we go. The purchase. So it takes in the year that the purchaser or the buyer of that home, when they bought it, the month, what the current asking price is and what they sell, what they actually purchased it for. So it pulls that in. And then you say, okay, how much over ask are you looking to go? So let's just say you want to go 15,000 over. So you do 15,000. And then you hit results. And so this will tell you kind of how long until you break even, what the forecast is. So 2000, if you're buying it here, it'll tell you, well, based on appreciation in 2023, it's going to be it's going to be a $770,000 value. So it'll kind of tell you what the appreciation would be based on current estimates and what the forecast looks like. So if you're buying it here over ask, you're going to be in the positive for the next few years. So if somebody's saying, I don't want to be upside down, well, this little graph will show them what that looks like. And then you can just download it here to PDF, hit continue, download the PDF, save it, and then there you have a PDF version.
Okay, so like, do you guys use this? Like, okay, so the other day I talked to Heidi and I was like, okay, we're going to be offering over asking. Do you guys use this too on your side when you see that we're offering more than asking to evaluate?
Not normally,
Okay.
because this is more of a showing the borrower what to expect.
I got you.
For the
Okay.
loan, we don't really care about that. All we care about is the appraised value.
Right.
This does have an AVM in here. So it has a automatic value method that brings in what it thinks the property's worth at that time as well. So yes, we can use it, but it's more of a sales tool than that actual loan process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's something we can absolutely use as much as we want, because in reality, it's about psychology of the borrower and making them have comfort knowing that, okay, even if we're paying a little bit higher, your value break even is immediately on this one. Like it's in 3 months after closing, we're going to have 3% appreciation, which is more than we went over ask. So it really is a great way of illustrating what that looks like for the borrower.
Yeah, this is a great tool. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is great.